anticipation has been building for months. The trailers were epic. The reviews are pouring in. And now the game is finally here. But there's a catch. Early players are already complaining about missing features, incomplete storylines, and a lack of endgame content. You sit there, controller in hand, faced with a decision. Should you dive in now or wait for future updates? The temptation to jump in is overwhelming. After all, you've been hyped for this release. You hit buy and dive straight in. The graphics are stunning, the mechanics smooth, and the first few hours feel promising. But soon, cracks begin to show. The story feels rushed. Plot holes leave you with questions, and the once thrilling adventure begins to feel incomplete. You wonder if you should have waited. Multiplayer offers a new distraction, but it's plagued with balance issues and limited maps. Frustration creeps in. Meanwhile, on the other side of the choice, there's the patient gamer. You hold back, resisting the temptation, waiting for patches, content drops, and maybe even a discounted complete edition. 3 months pass, and the developers finally deliver new story chapters, balanced gameplay, fresh multiplayer maps. You buy the game at a discount and experience it the way it was meant to be played, complete and polished. Yet, the downside of patience is missing out on the early hype, the excitement of playing alongside a buzzing community at launch. In the end, the dilemma remains. Do you dive in for the thrill of release day, risking disappointment, or wait for the polished experience, potentially missing out on the magic of being part of the game's initial wave? Your choice shapes the journey. After the storm, moving on after a shaky game release, the game was meant to be a breath of fresh air to the series of Mortal Kombat. And even a tag game, I was wary of its release, but I had to see it through. But when launch day finally arrived, everything fell apart. From the moment I loaded in, I knew something was wrong. Glitches were everywhere. Characters clipped through walls. Missions wouldn't trigger. And the immersive world that had been promised felt hollow and incomplete. The servers were unstable and still are. The excitement I had built up for months turned into disappointment in a matter of hours. At first, I told myself to hold on. Just wait for the first patch. I thought they'll fix it soon. But as the weeks passed, even with updates and hotfixes, it became clear that this game wasn't what I had hoped for. The magic was gone, and every time I logged in, it felt less like fun and more like I was forcing myself to hold onto something that wasn't there. That's when I realized it was time to take a break, resetting expectations and letting go. It's strange how much disappointment can weigh on you when it comes to games. I had built up so much excitement that it almost felt like I was mourning an experience I never actually had. But clinging to frustration wasn't going to change anything. It was time to reset my expectations and shift my focus. The first thing I did was take some time off. I muted discussions about the game, stopped scrolling through forums, and distanced myself from the negativity surrounding the release. It wasn't about ignoring the situation. It was about protecting my love for gaming. and not letting one bad experience ruin it. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, I turned my attention to other games. I opened up my backlog, titles I had been meaning to try, but had kept on hold for the big release. I started small, with games that didn't carry the weight of massive hype, and almost immediately, things started to change. Rediscovering why I play, diving into a game with no expectations was refreshing. No overhyped promises, no massive marketing campaigns, just pure gameplay and storytelling. I found myself getting lost in indie games and smaller titles that offered something genuine and creative. Every session reminded me why I fell in love with gaming in the first place. It wasn't about flashy graphics or revolutionary mechanics. It was about getting absorbed in a world, challenging myself, and feeling that rush of discovery and accomplishment. I remembered how fun it was to just play without overthinking it. Eventually, the developers of that Mortal Kombat 1 started rolling out major updates and patches, and maybe one day I'll go back to see if it finally lives up to the potential I once believed in. But I realized something important. It's okay to move on. Not every game needs to be perfect. Some will fall short. But for every disappointment, there are dozens of experiences waiting to be discovered, each offering new stories, fresh challenges, and genuine enjoyment. What I learned from the hype crash, that failed release taught me a valuable lesson. Gaming shouldn't be about chasing hype or waiting for the next big thing. It's about finding joy in the experience itself, whether that's exploring a beautifully crafted open world, competing in a fast-paced multiplayer match, or relaxing with a cozy indie title. The best gaming moments come from enjoying the journey, not from fulfilling sky-high expectations. Now, I play what feels right. I don't force myself to stick with a game that isn't fun just because I was excited for it. I've learned to let go of the pressure to follow every major release and instead focus on what truly matters, having fun and connecting with the reasons I fell in love with gaming in the first place. And honestly, that realization brought back the joy I thought I had lost. Now I play Noob Sabot and have fun trying different characters.